Hey guys, I'm Sith of Mage, and as I promised, I deliver you the bonus video you get for discovering the text of tears. Zombie! Get off of me! Get off of me! Sorry about that, I still had it set to hard mode. Anyways, without further ado, the video.
Long ago, before you and I walked this world and took a breath, there existed a marvelous kingdom. And in this kingdom was a respected and wise Academy of Mages. One of the most prominent mages was an older man named Decimus. He had studied the arcane arts for longer than most of his colleagues. Decimus did not seek power or prestige. He was on a lifelong quest for knowledge. The most prized page of knowledge in the book of history was that of the source. How was it created? How did it work? And where were the three pieces? It was customary at the academy for each of the elder mages to have an apprentice. For Decimus, it was a young man named Alexander. Alexander was one of the brightest and most skilled of all the apprentices. As talented Alexander was, he never let it go to his head. He would not brag or boast. A humble and honest young man he was. Decimus did not care for all the formalities and protocols that the other elders required. Instead, Decimus and Alexander were more akin to friends than a master and a student. During one expedition to the realm, where there seems more water than land, Decimus and Alexander found the remnants of a tattered scroll. Although badly damaged, the scroll revealed a hidden location, a place that was meant for no man to ever see. The scroll revealed a vault where a piece of the source lay dormant. The friends were amazed by the find and quickly made preparations to seek out this piece of the source. Not long after, Decimus and Alexander had located the vault, and inside they found the first piece of the source. The object gave off an unusual hum, and a strange feeling washed over the men as they approached. Decimus reached out his hand and touched the ancient artifact, and when he did, a flash of light blinded the room, knocking both men unconscious. Moments later, Decimus would wake. He struggled to find his feet, noticing that Alexander was still lying on the ground. Decimus ran over to his friend and tried to wake him up. "Alexander! Alexander, are you all right?" "I'm fine, old man," Alexander replied with a smile. Then, his expression turned into surprise. "What has happened to you? You look so much younger." Decimus looked into a small pool of water nearby and noticed that indeed he had changed. He no longer looked like a man late in life, but in his early 30s. "If this is the worst thing that happened, then I can certainly live with it," Decimus said and laughed. "But what about you? I don't see any change in you." "Well, I guess it only affected you," Alexander said with a smirk. But he was lying. There was a change in Alexander, a corruption of his mind. A sinister and growing evil had taken hold of Alexander. Decimus carefully picked up the piece of the source and placed it in a pouch. Underneath where the source had rested was a scrap of paper that would reveal the location of the second piece of the source. The two friends would set on yet another journey to find the second piece. Unknowingly to Decimus, his friend's mind grew more corrupted with each passing day. At long last, they finally found the second vault and the next piece of the source. In the chamber where the source piece sat on a pedestal, Decimus and Alexander approached. At this point, very little of Alexander's mind was uncorrupted. Again Decimus reached out to take the artifact, and again a brilliant light blinded the room. This time, when Decimus woke, he found that Alexander and both pieces of the source were gone. A scrap of paper was lying on the ground near him. It showed the location of the final piece of the source, the kingdom of the sky. Decimus was distraught with the disappearance of his friend and the two powerful artifacts. He returned to the academy to speak to the other elders. Before he had even been able to fully explain the situation, a strange robed figure appeared at the gates of the academy. He claimed to be the lost student Alexander, and he demanded to speak to the other elders immediately. Decimus rushed to see his friend, only to be struck in horror at what he saw. All flesh had been burned off Alexander's head, leaving only the skull. Alexander told the story of how the source had corrupted him, and he required the help of the elders to remove this corruption. Decimus quickly brought Alexander to the counseling room. But Alexander had deceived his friend. He did not care about removing the corruption. Alexander simply wanted to access the inner chamber where the realm portals were. He would need to use them to travel to the kingdom of the sky. Upon reaching the council room and seeing the realm portals, Alexander without hesitation unleashed the power of the two pieces of the source which he now held. Instantly, he killed all the elders except for Decimus, who previously had been empowered by the source, but leaving him in a weakened state.
"Why?" Decimus asked with horror in his eyes.
But Alexander did not respond, and his new face showed no emotion. Instead, Alexander started walking towards the realm portals, and at that moment, Decimus knew what Alexander was intending. The scrap of paper showed the kingdom of the sky as the resting place for the third piece. Decimus knew he could not allow Alexander to reach it. He gathered all of his power, including all that granted to him by the source, and unleashed a powerful seal on the realm portals, preventing Alexander from entering. Enraged, Alexander again released the power from his artifacts, and this time tore the life force from Decimus' body, leaving him in a disembodied spirit. This act caused the complete annihilation of the academy. From now on, this event would be known as the Change. The man once called Alexander was no more. From here forward, he only would be known as the Deceiver.
Well, there you go. That is the story of the Deceiver. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Goodbye.